Now, with regard to 18 and the great earthquake, and there were voices or sounds, and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great. At this point, we are informed by the evangelist the beginning of the plague, which is introduced by the stereotypical phrases of St. John: flashes of lightning, voices or sounds, peals of thunder. These are clearly meteorological phenomena, but the weight of the plague falls on what follows, which is the mighty, the massive earthquake, with the additional emphasis that such an earthquake was never witnessed in human history. So it falls what follows, which is the mighty, the massive earthquake, right? So that's he wants to stress the unprecedented nature of the degree, the strength of this earthquake. This corresponds with what Daniel writes in 12:1 in his book, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as has never been since there was a nation till that time. So it's totally unprecedented. Daniel says that there will be such tribulation, such distress, such temptation, such evil, that it had never yet occurred since nations were founded upon the earth. So the absolute extreme and ultimate character of this plague that's come. We read about in Matthew 24:21 also about the end times and an earthquake. The Lord himself says there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world. Almost identical language here. Until now, no, and never will be. So this is a never again, never happened, never will be. This is unique in all of history, this tribulation that's coming here, that's described in 1618. One can rightfully ask, what sort of terrifying event will this be? It must be pointed out that an earthquake was also at hand during the opening of the sixth and seventh seal. But these earthquakes of the previous plagues pale in comparison with this massive earthquake that will be unprecedented in human history. All right, so there are earthquakes, and then there's the earthquake. There are Antichrist, and then there's the Antichrist. There's marks or types of the seal or mark of Antichrist, and then there's the mark, right? So that's what we're seeing here. This is not just another earthquake. There are wars, and then there's the massive battle and war of Armageddon. So nothing new under the sun except the degree. And we see that in our society today. Everybody says it. Everybody says this is exponential time. It seems like time is running. It seems like we're leaping forward, right? And so we see this feeling, the sense that the degree of things is unprecedented, but the nature of things really is not, right? No new thing under the sun, ultimately. Because we don't create ex nihilo. We don't create from nothing. Right? So there's nothing new except our manipulation and our distortion, the degree of distortion, manipulation, and perversion that is new, but nothing by nature new. So that gives you a sense of what is going to be new at the end is this unprecedented scale, degree, impact. So nations rise and fall from earthquakes. And this is one way to understand. It's both and, of course, but one way to understand the great earthquake. What is the great earthquake? It always acts through history. It's figuratively speaking, always acting through history since nations become extinct. Regardless of this, that we can see it this way, right? That the earthquake here is again and again bringing down the empires. That's what that earthquake is. We can see it that way, but we also cannot and must not exclude the physical dimension of this earthquake because the Lord spoke about the advent of earthquakes and wars in such a way that does not permit us to limit it only to an allegory. It does not permit us to limit it only to the fall and rise of the nations, but it will be a particular time and space in the end with an earthquake, the massive earthquake. It'll be both end. Consequently, the great earthquake does include the extinction of the God-opposing nations within history, yes, but it does not exclude the physical dimension. So we began this lecture tonight kind of wondering, which is it? And we now understand that it's both. The earthquake is also literal. It is noteworthy, however, that the city of Jerusalem is shaken. It is broken in 3 pieces, but it does not disappear. The city of Jerusalem does not disappear. The nations disappeared. The city of Jerusalem broken, 3 pieces, doesn't disappear. This is very interesting. He says, in the chapter to follow, we will see that everything will be ruined. Babylon, Rome, the city of the nations, everything will break down, including historical Jerusalem. However, the new Jerusalem, and for all those sad, pathetic, poor, heretical, deluded Protestants who think that that the church is not the new Jerusalem, they unfortunately will not be a part of this and not understand it. What a tragedy. What a tragedy of heretical proportions. The new Jerusalem, the one not made by hands, will descend from heaven bright and incorrupt. This is the kingdom of God described by the Evangelist John in the last chapter of the book of Revelation. This is the overall meaning of this last historical plague, where we see that after the judgment of the peoples and the nations, we will have the inauguration of the magnificent dawning of the kingdom of God. Obviously, all Christians expect the kingdom of God to come. And I'm not saying that even the heretical Protestants don't understand that, but they've erred too much for the historical Jerusalem, the historical people of God, and they've missed this full interpretation, the full understanding. This is the kingdom of God, the new Jerusalem, which will come down and be inaugurated, and all the nations will fall away.